U.S. Central Command announced that the U.S.-built aid pier in Gaza has been repaired and reestablished, and supplies are expected to begin moving into the territory once again. And in Washington, lawmakers are preparing to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who's scheduled to address a joint meeting of Congress next month. Congressional leaders have urged the Prime Minister to come to the Capitol in a showing of support. He's planning this visit as more calls are coming in from around the world for a ceasefire deal, and it also coincides with a growing divide in Congress over the war in Gaza. CBS News contributor Robert Berger is following all of this for us from Jerusalem. So, Robert, this is going to be a contentious visit for the Israeli Prime Minister. What is he expected to say?
You know, this is a big boost for Netanyahu, getting this invitation at a time of high tensions with the Biden administration over the war in Gaza. You know, first of all, the invitation comes from both Democrats and Republicans. So it's an opportunity for Netanyahu to reinforce the traditional support for Israel on both sides of the aisle. And Netanyahu's really in his element here. This is going to be the fourth time he's addressed Congress, which is more than any other world leader. And his English is perfect. He'll use his powers of persuasion to, as he put it, present the truth about Israel's just war in Gaza, what he describes as a war of survival, to the American people and to the entire world.
It's still not known whether he'll be meeting with President Biden, right?
That's the big question. So far, President Biden has not invited Netanyahu to the White House during this term, which goes back about a year and a half. First, President Biden was angry over Israel's judicial reform, which divided the country and is seen as a threat to democracy. And now all the tension over the high civilian casualties in Gaza. So it's not clear yet if President Biden will issue an invitation. I think a lot depends on what happens in the next 6 weeks or so until Netanyahu comes to Washington. If there's a ceasefire deal and a hostage deal, as the U.S. is pushing for, I'm sure Netanyahu will get an invitation to the White House. But if not, if he's seen as blocking that, then it's anybody's guess.
Israel is defending its recent airstrike that killed dozens of Palestinians sheltering in a UN school in central Gaza. What more are we learning?
Israel is justifying this attack, saying that 20 or 30 Palestinian militants from Hamas and Islamic Jihad had set up a command center there from where they were launching and planning attacks on Israeli forces. They say 9 of these militants were killed in the airstrike. But the Palestinians say there were 37 dead at least in this attack, including women and children. So this raises the question that we've really seen throughout the war of whether it's legitimate to target terrorists or militants when they're basically in a very heavily populated civilian zone. Israel's critics say that it's a violation of international law.
Let's talk about Israel's war cabinet, because Benny Gantz could step down from his position tomorrow over the way Prime Minister Netanyahu is handling the war. This is part of an ultimatum that he gave last month. Is he expected to resign?
He is expected to resign tomorrow at the end of the Sabbath. He's called a news conference after issuing this ultimatum. And, you know, Gantz is one of 3 members of the war cabinet. He is a moderate, and his presence in the war cabinet is extremely important to Netanyahu because it gives a sense of legitimacy in this right-wing government to the war. But he is angry, basically, to put it simply, about 2 things. One is that he feels Netanyahu is blocking a U.S.-backed hostage deal and ceasefire deal. And 2, that there's no plan for the day after in Gaza. Who will rule the territory once the war is over? So it does look like he's going to resign. And this is a problem for Netanyahu. It basically makes him more dependent on the hardliners in his government. Although the bottom line is this won't topple Netanyahu or his coalition.
Is this the last we'll see of Gantz, or do you think that he has higher political aspirations?
He has aspirations to replace Netanyahu as prime minister. He's done pretty well in the polls until recently, when the race has become a little bit closer. But should there be new elections after the war, which is widely expected, he actually could defeat Netanyahu and become Israel's next prime minister.
Robert Berger, thank you.
Thank you.